I'm giving this Q&A all shit, Scott Captain. Okay, just earlier I was looking and I was like, oh my god, there's all these questions that people left me through comments a very, very long time ago that I never got around to answering. And I went on and answered a lot of other questions that I got just recently, and there's all this great material that I could have played off of, like, all this time, all these months. So to all those people that, like, sent me a bunch of great questions that I never got around to, I'm getting around to them right now. Cutter26947 asks, first he asks, what do you think of other Pink Floyd albums like Dark Side of the Moon and Wish You Were Here? The thing with other Pink Floyd albums, other than The Wall and Dark Side of the Moon, is that I haven't really listened to much of them. There's bits out of Wish You Were Here, like I think Welcome to the Machine was from that album, and of course the title song, Wish You Were Here. I've heard them on a consistent basis, but honestly they didn't hit all that much of a chord with me the same way that Dark Side of the Moon did. Dark Side of the Moon in and of itself I view as an absolute masterpiece. It isn't quite on the same level as The Wall, but I would say that it's the second best rock CD of all time, with The Wall sitting really high above it all. But it's still absolutely wonderful to hear. The song Great Gig in the Sky is like heaven to my ears. Hearing it, somebody said this on a comment section, and I completely agree with their statement, which is, if I knew these were my last dying moments, and there's one song that I could play while I was dying, it would be The Great Gig in the Sky. That song encompasses so much pain and so much joy to me, just through simple vocals. There's no lyrics whatsoever. It's just a woman practically screaming musically. Some people have said orgasmically, but I really don't see that connection. It really sounds like someone that's struggling against death, and then eventually coming to terms with their own mortality. But that's my own take on it. That's me getting all deep and philosophical. But there is a slight clip at the beginning of the song that Pink Floyd loves to do, like little conversations between people in the middle of their songs, like little strange sound clips. And there's something at the beginning, I think it was probably Roger Waters saying it, or one of the other band members, but right before the main part of the song starts, there's this little bit that says, oh, I'm not afraid of dying. Any day will do if I don't mind. Why should I be afraid of dying? There's no reason for it. You've got to go sometime. And that's when her screaming begins, and that's when the song really starts going on. And I think it's really about coming to grips with death in and of itself. And that really evoked something in me. And lots of the other songs from Dark Side of the Moon do the same thing. There's some tracks that I'm not a big fan of, but other than that, the CD as a whole is a wonderful, sweeping epic. Everything that Pink Floyd does is pretty epic. I'm sure if I listen to a lot of the other tracks that they've done, a lot of the other CDs, I'd feel the same way. But I haven't quite gotten around to it yet. That should be my new musical project. I am going to listen, not watch. You can't watch Pink Floyd unless you're watching The Wall. I'm going to listen to more Pink Floyd. That is my musical goal. And it will not be sung by Miku, thank God. Alright, his second question is, what do you think of Let's Plays? I have a very particular thing with Let's Plays, which is I never want it to be just a walkthrough with like some retarded guy in the background bumbling going, I just pwned that guy, did you see that? I pwned him. Let's Plays, for me, really have to be about getting to know the people who are actually playing the game. This sounds really weird, but I want somebody who's constantly talking, like the whole time as they're playing a game, and like just talking about why they love the game, like, and just getting into random topics and random things about anything, really, as they're playing. I want it to feel like an ongoing conversation. And lots of Let's Plays don't really get into that sort of thing. It's usually just like, oh, we're playing it and it's kind of a walkthrough, and I just said something that I thought was funny, but is really actually really freaking stupid. That's how most of it comes across to me, and I think the joy in Let's Plays, I think I would actually be pretty decent at Let's Plays. I mean, I don't pride myself at being the best blogger in the world, because I really don't think I am. It isn't my goal to be all that great of a blogger. Really, what I try to do with my channel and my videos is just to let myself out. That's all that I really do it for. I do it to let my creativity go, let everything else go, and just start talking. Uncensored, just start blah, 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 blah. Except in the case of some of the reviews I've been doing lately, which I've been scripting just to, you know, I like that sort of thing. I like writing reviews, and I like reading the writing of my reviews. But with Let's Plays, I think you need to have a guy kind of along my personality type to do it. You need to have somebody that's just constantly talking the entire time about nothing and keeping your attention while you're watching this, what's basically a glorified walkthrough. let me see. There was one in particular. There was a BioShock Let's Play. I don't remember the guys who did it. It sounded like a bunch of teenage kids, and there's actually 2 girls doing it as well. And at the time, I think I was like 16, and I was like, I'm going to marry these girls because she was talking about like, oh, I want to buy like a keychain or a plushie of Big Daddy, and I was like, you are the hottest thing in history. But now I've grown up, and now I've kind of learned that girls who like video games are not all that uncommon of a breed. They actually do exist. They may be a little more rare than normal girls, but when you find them, they are worth seeking out. They're like the holy grail treasure. But no, those guys and gals that did that particular commentary were very good, and I loved it, and I was laughing the whole time. I didn't end up finishing their whole thing. The thing with Let's Plays is I always give up around like 3 videos, and I'm like, okay, I've heard and seen enough. But I imagine if I actually watched the entire thing, I would have gotten just as much enjoyment out of it, if not more, because they really let themselves out there, and I was really starting to feel like, okay, I'm getting a general sense of the personalities of the people who were actually playing this game. If I remember right, they were taking turns as well, which is equally as amusing, because you would get them, like, commenting on each other and saying, like, no, why are you doing that? Why are you using the shotgun instead of the grenade? You bastard, you should just go die somewhere and let me take the controller and be the god of this game. That is what makes a Let's Play interesting. Alright, now we've got his last question here, which says, what do you think of Lucky Star? And this really makes me laugh because clearly, no offense to you, of course, this would never be an offense to Cutter because he's a great subscriber and everything, and I like him, and he leaves comments. And people who leave comments and leave me questions, I love you all. But clearly, you have not been around since I made a profile that went along the lines of Kagami is my lover, and there was another profile I made that was... Shoot, what was the other profile? SOS Brigade Films, which had a glowing review of Lucky Star that was absolutely just like, I was praising it to high heaven. So much so, in fact, that I look back on it and it's almost funny because I was kind of, I'll admit, the thing with the reviews is that the best reviews are the most unbiased, where it's just someone stating their opinion and getting out. What's so great about blogging in and of itself is that you can be glowing about something and you can tell people to go piss off because, it's your own personal opinion. The thing with reviews is that I feel that this should be more critical. The problem with my Lucky Star review way back when is that it was more like a blog entry rather than an actual critical review. And I think I gave it a higher score than it properly deserved, even though that was my own personal feeling about the show, was that it was at a 4.5 out of 5 level, as opposed to, I think, what it properly deserved, which was a 4 out of 5. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, because for some reason, Lucky Star starts arguments amongst anime nerds. It really does, actually. I've talked to people on campus who like anime, and they're like, oh, what shows do you like? And I list off some, and they're like, oh, those are good, some good choices. And I'm like, yeah, and I also like Lucky Star. And they're like, oh my god, you like that piece of moe on crack? I had a respect for you before, but now that you said that, and I'm kind of like, it's just so cute to me that there's an energy and a spark to it. It has that Kyoto Animation feel. The thing is, if you like Kyoto Animation, I think you'll enjoy Lucky Star. Lots of the complaints that people have about it, I honestly don't understand. It's one of those things where I honestly feel like they're justified to a degree, but if you're going to let that overshadow the entire show, whatever. People are entitled to their opinions. I hate District 9. Lots of people would attack me for that. And the fact that I'm mentioning District 9 and Lucky Star in the same sentence is probably meaning that I'm going to hell someday. I'm going to critical hell. But you guys should know this about me already. I have some of the worst opinions in the world if you're going to compare them to a mass group. I mean, I admitted to liking some really, really terrible movies if you're going to take the entire consensus of the world at me. Like, this is what the group likes, and this is what I like. I'm an individual. I like what I want to like. I like Lucky Star. I like The Last Starfighter. I like really crappy stuff sometimes. Although, I don't consider Lucky Star to be within the crappy territory. I just don't. I don't understand the hate towards it. I think it's mostly because it's popular, and so it's popular to hate on it. But that's just my viewpoint on that. Oh, I've got to get wrapping this thing up. This is MPig, aka My Profile is Great, and I am signing out. Expect more Q&As as time goes on, and send me more questions. Booyah.